Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. Welcome to Buddhist Fellowship's Sunday service. Once again, we will start with the normal morning puja. Salutation to the Triple Gem. Let us pay respects to the Triple Gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Please put your palms together to partake in the offerings to the Buddha. The offering of the 5 items allows us to express our gratitude to the Buddha and serves as a symbol to help us remember his teachings. Please join in to read the verses together. Offering of light. Light symbolizes wisdom. May the light of Dharma dispel the darkness of ignorance. Offering of incense. Incense symbolizes the fragrance of pure moral conduct. This reminds us to cultivate good conduct. Offering of water. Water symbolizes purity, clarity, and calmness. It reminds us to practice the Buddha's teachings to cleanse one's mind, which is full of desires, ill will, and delusion, to attain the state of purity. Offering of fruits. Fruits symbolize the ultimate fruit of enlightenment, which is our goal. They also remind us that all actions will have their effects. Offering of flowers. Flowers symbolize impermanence. The freshness, fragrance, and beauty of flowers are impermanent. This reminds us that we should all live in the present. Remembering thus, we should reduce our craving and attachment. Let us pay homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. We chant these verses for going to take the 3 refuges. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. We chant these verses to observe the 5 precepts. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapada Samadhiyami. Kame Sumichachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sura Meraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Buddha. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Dhamma. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko ehipasiko opanaiko pacchatang veditabo vinyuhiti. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Sangha. Supatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Ujjupatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Nyāyapatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Sami Cipatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Yadidang Cattari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuttarang Punyaketang Lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, first we have a few announcements. Today we have our AGM, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, so those who are members do stay back so that you can take part in our AGM and get the updates for our new premises and voting for the new term of office for the new EXCO. Okay, the first Sunday of the month, we have a meditation Sunday conducted by Brother Tan Beng Hock. So do come and join in. It will be an hour of meditation and then Q&A after that. We have, besides Brother Tan Beng Hock, of course, we have Sister Sylvia and who else? And Sen Ng, as well as T. Kun Tiong, to speak on the other Sundays. BF Youth and Indonesian service as per normal, except they have an outing on the 3rd week for the BF Youth. Do look at the posters for the Youth and Indonesian service. For Yin Yoga, BF East, every Tuesday, 7:30 to 8:45 p.m., started already in May to 12th July, so you can join in anytime. Happy workout for next quarter, starting 2nd July, we will have it on site, no more on Zoom. So do come, especially if you have parents or seniors, aunties and all that, do come for this dual task exercise for the brain and the body. Okay, let me introduce our speaker for today, Sister Rachel Lim. Sister Rachel Lim has been volunteering as a Dharma class teacher, helping students discover the relevance of the Buddha's teachings and apply the Dharma in their professional and daily life. Sis Rachel was working in the human resources field with MNCs prior to stepping down from her corporate position. She has been teaching at many Buddhist organizations, including BF. So let us welcome Sister Rachel. Thank you for accepting our invitation. So before this, the talk, she will guide us in a short mindfulness meditation.
Okay. So first and foremost, welcome to the sharing today. We'll start with a very short relaxation. Okay. So for those who are wearing glasses, you may want to just remove the glasses. So if you want to, right, that you can feel a little bit more relaxed. So sit in a very comfortable position, whether you're on the cushion or on the chair. Right? Preferably, if you are sitting on the chair, that both feet is on the floor, okay, so that you get a very good balance of your body. And when you're ready, you can very closely close your eyes in a very gentle manner. So don't just shut our eyes, right? Just very gently close it slowly. We'll start with taking 3 deep breaths. And as you take this deep breath, what we'll do is, when we breathe in, try to imagine someone just pulling your head, and you could allow yourself to lengthen your spine. And as you breathe out, put your attention on your shoulders and drop the shoulders. Okay? So we start with 3 deep breaths. So breathe in deeply, lengthen your spine. Breathe out. Drop the shoulders. Breathe in again. Attention on your spine. Feel your spine being lengthened as you breathe in. And just breathe out. Just drop your shoulders. Attention on the shoulders. Drop the shoulders. Last one, breathe in, lengthen the spine. As you breathe out, drop the shoulders. If you're at home doing this relaxation, you can do a few more times of this lengthening in the spine and dropping the shoulders. It helps us to put our body in an upright position and yet very relaxed. Okay, we'll start with our feet. So put your attention on your feet. If you can't feel your feet, you can sort of just wriggle the feet a little bit so that you can feel it. Right? And when you put our attention on your feet, just feel how the feet is feeling today. Is it relaxed? Is there anywhere that's tense? Just relax it. Let go of any tension. And slowly move the attention to your leg. We usually find some aching of the leg when we do running or taking long walks. and all this tension to build up. So take this opportunity to just allow the legs to just relax. So you just let go. If you feel any aching, tension, discomfort, just let it go. Now move your attention to your thighs. And when we say put your attention there, what it means is that you just care for the thighs, care for your legs, as if you are just listening in to a good friend talking to you. So as you feel the thigh today, our thighs, what's the thigh telling us? Is it okay? Does it have some pain point somewhere? Any discomfort? So just pay attention to it and try to just let go of any discomfort or pains or aching. And next we move to our tummy area. Are you totally relaxed with the tummy? Now notice that if when our tummy is relaxed, it's usually a little bit bulging out. So if it's tucked in, it could mean that you are a little bit tense. So just place your attention there. Just find out, investigate. If there's any tightness, recognize it and just allow it to relax. Just try. If it doesn't want to relax, it's okay. All right, you just try. Like telling a friend, okay, it's all right, just relax, let go. With the relaxing of tummy, basically our lower bodies should feel a little bit more relaxed than when we started. Now move attention slowly to your lower back. Those of us who work on the computer a lot or sit a lot, you find that our lower backs is usually a little bit tense. Sometimes even feels a bit sore. So take this opportunity to just listen in to your lower back. Even if it's sore, tight, it's okay. Just allow it to relax. And let go of all this soreness and tightness in the lower back. Just don't hold on to it, just let it go. Just let it melt away. Now we do the same to our upper back. When we first started, we took long, deep breath in to lengthen the spine. It should help our upper back and the lower back to be a bit more comfortable. If it's not, take this opportunity now to relax it, feel it. go of tightness, soreness, any pains. So acknowledge it and then just let it go. Now, very slowly and gently move your attention to the chest area. This is a very big area in our body. It's also an area that gets very tense up easily in the duration of the days as we go through our daily chores. Any emotions, any feelings gets it tied up. Our chest gets very tight very easily because of that. Any stress, especially at work, your chest gets tight, sometimes unknowingly. So take this opportunity, listen to your chest. Feel every muscle around your chest. Just like visiting a friend. So ask the chest, how are you, chest? Most of us would feel a little bit of tightness there. As we breathe in and out naturally, just allow those tightness to leave our body. Even we may not be able to totally relax the chest, it's okay. Every little bit of relaxation helps. So just let go. Let the tightness leave the body. Now bring attention to the shoulders. Many of us will have tight shoulders. We experience that. Sometimes even need to go for massage to loosen up the muscles around the shoulder areas. So accept, that we do feel tightness in the shoulders because that's very natural. So as we are doing relaxation, allow every part of your muscles and your shoulders to just relax. Feel for the tenderness, the soreness and any tightness first. Look for it. Just like scanning through, look for it. And when you spot certain tightness, just allow it to just leave the body. And next, the neck. The neck do a lot of work for us. It holds up our head. So there's a lot of muscles that we may not know or may not be aware of. In our daily life, we don't pay a lot of attention to it. So this is the time to pay attention to the neck area and allow the neck muscles to just relax. Feel grateful for the muscles that has been holding up our heads, which is a very important job, but it's often overlooked by us. Next, pay attention to your face. we have a lot of muscles on our face. A sure way to relax the muscles here is to put a little smile on our face. Just very, very gently smile. And immediately you find that the muscles on the face relax. For most of us, one of the most difficult area to relax would be the muscles around the eyes. So feel your muscles around your eyes now. The muscles between your two eyebrows. We stare at the computer a lot. We stare at our phones, our mobile phones a lot. So this area gets tensed up almost every hour in the day. One of the most comfortable things about doing relaxation and meditation is that we find our eyes totally relaxed. Very different feeling versus when we are staring at our phone and our computer. At this point, just put your attention on your whole body. Is it a little bit more relaxed than we first started? Allow your whole body to relax. Just let it relax. Let any tension that you know of, just let it go. Some of us who are very relaxed, you could actually gently feel, your breath becoming more obvious to you. If that's so, you could also gently, very slowly move your attention to your breath and just watch it. Let's get ready to come out of this relaxation. Okay, feel your contact between the seat that you're sitting and your hip. Just bring your attention back there. And when you're ready, you can just open your eyes. Slowly open your eyes. Okay, good morning, everyone. So what we've just done for the last 10 minutes or so is a relaxation exercise. okay? And relaxation is a prelude to meditation, if I may say that, because if we are not relaxed enough, we find that it's hard for our mind to still. So relaxation is actually to bring our body to a more comfortable and steady mode so that the mind can follow, okay? So I encourage all of us to do a little bit of relaxation every day. Now, if you find that you don't sleep very well, actually that's one thing that you can try. Before you sleep, just do this, 5 minutes relaxation. Right? Go to every part of your body, tell your body part to relax. Okay? And when you feel very relaxed, then you try to go to bed. Probably you'll sleep better. In fact, I see some of you dozing off already just now. Okay. All right. Okay, so welcome to this talk. Just now, Sister Eileen introduced myself. I'm Rachel. And I think in the introduction, she mentioned that I've stepped down from the corporate world. Actually, in the last 6 months, I've gone back to work. That's why when Sister Eileen approached me for sharing, I thought, okay, because I'm so sensitized to, after stopping work for a couple of years and then going back to the corporate world, I'm so sensitized to that change, and I thought it's a good time for me to share about, practicing Buddhism, practicing the Dharma at work. Yeah. So for some of us who are working in the corporate, you probably hear this term a lot, right? Best practice. Correct? We always thought, what's the best practice? What's the best known method? Okay? So today we're going to talk about best Buddhist practice at work. So how do we put our precious Dharma when we are, working in our respective field? Okay, it could be corporate, it could be, admin work, it could be, work that is not desk-bound, it could be volunteer work, any kind of work. Okay, how do we put our learning into practice? We'll have a bit of discussion today, okay? Okay, so the outline, being a very corporate trained person, you always want to have a frame and have a structure. So we're going to start with why. Why is important to understand, or why is it important to put our Dharma practice at work? And then we'll talk about how to do it, and then end the session with a little bit of a discussion and a Q&A, okay? So why? Why need to practice at work? How many hours do we spend at work every day? 9. I was about to say, about 8 hours a day. Some people say 9, right? More than that. Anyone more than 9 hours? Used to, okay. I see some people, nodding our heads, right? So we do spend a lot of hours, a lot of time every day at work, okay? And, even at the average of 8 hours, it's half of our time that is when we are awake, right? We average, let's say, 8 hours sleeping, 8 hours at work, 8 hours doing something else. So it's a significant time, a significant portion of our time that's spent, being awake in our waking time, right? So we need to use that amount of time for our practice, okay? If we don't, then we are missing out on quite a big portion of our life, yeah? That's one reason, because of the sheer number of hours that we spend at our work. Now, the other reasons is just looking at the nature of our work today. All right? Our work is actually characterized by a few things. First of all, our work is very complex. Would you agree? Yeah. Remember many years ago, if you go and work for an organization, for 5 years the organization has no change. Same boss, same people doing the job and all that, right? But today in our work situation, things are very complex. Even just trying to understand the organization structure, it takes a lot of effort, right? Work nature gets more complex. And the other characteristics is speed. Okay? I remember when I first started work, we don't have laptop, we don't have computers. We use mainframes. Those big, gigantic frame that has got green words, green letterings of it. Some of you here probably don't understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So those days, mainframe time. Of course, then I review my age. I remember in order to get a report, you have to write SQL, structured query language. And you put the language in, and you put that instruction in, you let it run. Then you can go and get a cup of coffee, and come back 15 minutes later, and the report will be ready. But today, if we want to run a simple report on our computers, we find that just with a press of a button, right, or a few clicks, right, and the report is out. So the speed of things that is going is so much faster. Okay? And with our mobile phones today, all right, even if you are not at work, your boss can reach you. Yeah? So the response time that you are expected at work is also much faster. Right? The last characteristics that I could think of is multitasking. Do you just do one thing at work today? Don't, right? How many times do you feel like this when you're at work? I always feel like this. When I go to my, I want to look for something, I go on and, sort of look at my emails, then I get distracted by something else. Then after clearing 2 emails, I think, why did I come back and look at my email? What was it that I was trying to search? Sounds familiar? Yeah. And with all this complexity, speed, and having to multitask, what does it do to our mind? What does it do to our mind? Yeah, busyness. Yeah, a lot of things to attend to at one go. All right, and we find that over the course of the day, our mind gets more and more scattered. Right? It's very hard to. That's why if we attend any meditation retreat or you meditate at home, you find it's very hard to meditate. Correct? You have a lot of thoughts that is going on. And where did all these thoughts come from? Actually, it's put in the course of our day, of our work, right? And that causes our mind to be very scattered, all right? A scattered mind can easily be stirred up. If you are scattered, the mind is not powerful, right? It's very unstable, and it's actually very unproductive. I don't know whether you feel the same. Usually at the end of the day, before I go home, I actually feel very tired. Yeah. And having, not worked for a while and coming back to work, I feel the big difference in the state of mind, because of work. But for many of us, we cannot do work, right? Work is part of life, okay? So then how can we put our practice, our Dharma practice at work so that our mind is a bit less scattered? Yeah? So this is going to be the core of our discussion. And it's also a $1 million question. It's always about how, right? You will probably have experience after a retreat. How many of you here has attended a retreat, like 3 days, 5 days, 7 days? Yeah, okay. Most of us have, yeah, some of us. And you will probably have that experience. You know, you go into a retreat, 5 days, 7 days. Yeah, at the end of the retreat, you find, wow, very peaceful, very nice, very relaxed. Okay. The next day, you go back to work. After one morning, or maybe even less than that, you find their mind is like all over the place already. Correct? Yeah? So it's important to therefore insert some pockets of practice in our work, so that whatever we've gained, all right, whatever meditation and peacefulness we've gained, at least we try to keep some of it. Keep that state during our work. Not 100%, but at least some of it. Okay? So I'm going to share a few aspects of how. All right? And at the end of this session, we can discuss a little bit. You can tell me how or whether you think it can be used. Okay? Now, to start with, we have to start with the mindset. So before we talk about what to do, behaviors and things like that, start with the mindset, okay? We must always prime our mind, okay, by starting to tell ourselves to put things in perspective, okay? When we say put things in perspective is to clarify or to assess the true value, importance, or significance of something. So what it means is that always reflect on what does Dharma mean to us? And what does work mean to us? All right? In the whole equation of life, our precious human life, okay? In this whole equation, where is the place of Dharma? What does Dharma do to us? And what does work? Where is the place of work? You know what I'm trying to say? So you look a bit like, this is not philosophical, it's not philosophical. It's to understand that, okay, maybe let me give an example. Some people, when they work, when they start, they have a job, and they put 100% into their job. They work day and night, and even when they go home, they bring the emotions of work home, and they are just totally absorbed into their work. Okay, I'm not saying that it's not right to work hard, but we have to put things in perspective, right? If we think Dharma practice is important, then we have to, first of all, put it in front and say, yeah, my practice, my Dharma practice is important. I must put some effort into it. That's about putting things in perspective. Okay? And how do we do that? We do that by attending, listening to Dharma talks. Okay? We do that by reading Dharma books to help us build up that foundation in Dharma. And that's important. Okay? So don't just listen to a talk once or good talks, we should listen to it many, many times. So one talk that I would really recommend you to listen about, putting things in perspective, is this talk by Ajahn Brahmali. Okay, this was 2018, December, New Year Eve. He talks about how do we move forward in one's practice. Okay, this is an excellent talk. I've listened to it many times. Okay, and each time I listen to it, I just find new things that I learn. Okay, the talk is really about asking us to reflect and to contemplate on what good things in life means to us. And we need to have that important, set that mindset correct. okay? And listen to it repeatedly, okay? So good talks, it's like good songs, right? Good songs, you listen to it many, many times, correct? Until you even know how to sing, right? So good talks, don't just listen to it once, okay? Especially after a few months or after a year, go and listen to it again. Sometimes we find that you learn new things, okay? So strongly recommend. This is on Buddhist Fellowship YouTube. Okay, you can find this talk. Okay, and it steers us to put things into the right perspective in this talk. Okay, so first, put things in perspective. Have a good balance. Have a good outlook about your life. Okay, where does work come in the whole equation, right? And the second perspective or second aspect that I'd like to talk about, I start with a little cartoon. So it's this guy who is in, looks like an emergency room. He's hooked up on many equipments. Okay, and then he realized his phone is on low power, 1% left. Okay, so of course, if your mobile phone is on 1%, what would you do? Immediately find a charger, somewhere to charge it. It's important to us, correct? So this guy got up, but he can't find a socket. All the sockets are used up to put his equipment. All right? But it's important. We can't even live 1 minute without our handphone. So what he did was this. He plucked out one of the socket and put his phone in. All right. So this is just a little cartoon, but I think the message is clear to all of us. Bear in mind what our priorities is in life. Okay? Our mobile phones must always be charged, right? We get nervous when our phone is only not 1%. Even 20%, we are like, oh no, I must charge my phone. If that is important enough, we put it out as our priority, correct? Right? Is Dharma important in our life? Yes, right? Very important, right? So we should practice it, even at our work. Practice it every day, correct? Then I see a lot of guilty faces. We often say, but no time, leh. I got no time, I'm very busy at work, right? So always remember this. If we really, really think that Dharma is important, we will find time. Correct? Okay? Now, practicing Dharma at work doesn't take a lot of time. Let's learn together and see whether it works for you, okay? So we talk about the mindset. So mindset, correct perspective, all right? Bear in mind our priorities, and then we have to start taking action now, okay? And the first thing that we can do at work, communicate in a beneficial way to others. Do we communicate at work? How do we communicate at work? Many ways, right? You talk face to face. Nowadays, less. But most of us already go back to office, right? Face to face, sometimes on the phone. A lot of time on the email, correct? Sometimes on Zoom, online meetings. A lot of communication goes on during our work. And we can use that communication as a form of practice. All right? And that practice is, always communicate with good intention. Okay? When we communicate at work, the whole reason for communicating is to solve problems, right? Resolve issues at work. All right? Maybe to provide information and facts to our colleagues. Right? But a lot of time, people communicate to vent their frustration, their anger. Do you agree? Huh? So just on Friday, actually, I went to one of my colleagues. Oh, no, this is recorded, is it? So I better don't, okay. Some time ago, I went to a colleague, all right, and tried to resolve some issues, invoice, all right, because there's some invoices that I need to sort out, and I, went to this person and say, how can I resolve this, right? And asking, for consultation and advice, all right, on how to resolve the issue. And then the person was telling me how I should do it. But as she tells me how I should do it, she was looking at me from the corner of her eyes. Like, don't bother me, her body language is like, don't bother me, right? So I understand, I may already be the 10th person that day to go to her to ask simple questions like this because we're unfamiliar with the procedure, right? So sometimes when we see behaviors at work, use it to reflect on ourselves. Okay? Can we try at every opportunity that we have to communicate with others, to do it in a way that it is supportive, to do it in a way that it is just focusing on resolving the work with facts and communicate with good intention? Does that take a lot of time? No, right? It's just part of what we are doing. Is it easy to do? Not easy, yeah? Not easy, okay? And sometimes, what we think can be very quick, right? I'm sure you probably have experienced it. Even if you sometimes see one colleague coming from the far end of the corridor, right? Your head already have that light bulb, like, oh no. Correct? Yeah? So I read something that Ajahn Jay wrote about right speech. Ajahn Jay always write his teaching on the yellow notepads, yeah? And one of those teachings that I picked up, he says that, driving a wedge between the defilement that arises in our mind and the verbal expression of them is already a significant spiritual achievement. And that's very encouraging. Meaning that we have this, little devil that comes to our mind. Like we sometimes get, when someone walks past and say, yeah, here he comes again with his nonsense, Or, our boss, you see, always like that, and then angry, frustrated, Even if that little devil comes, that little defilement devil comes, okay, if we can at least not verbalize it, it's already a little achievement, or it's already an achievement in our spiritual practice. Okay? And that makes a lot of sense because, our mind is very fast. You can't really, or you can't tell it to do something else unless you have very strong meditation practice, right? Our thoughts comes very fast. But at least if we are able to arrest that thought and say, okay, yeah, I can feel my heartbeat faster, my blood pressure rising, But at least, you don't verbalize it. You just deal with it in a more calm manner. All right? You don't scold, say angry words about somebody. Right? At least that already is a spiritual practice. That needs a little bit of self-awareness, a little bit of mindfulness, which we're going to touch on later. Okay? Now, this is our speech, and then the other one is our action. At work, all right? Act in a responsible manner. Okay? our integrity, right? Ethics. We don't take things that don't belong to us. We don't, talk bad about somebody behind his back, right? Maintain that, that integrity, that honesty in ourselves, whatever work that we are dealing with. Okay, I think in many companies, actually, even the company values would encompass this, correct? Yeah? Okay, whether it is fully implemented and done, that's another story, but at least the values are there. Okay, so live by all these values. Okay, this is the basic, but on top of it is that, the way we act towards our team, our boss, our colleagues, act in a way that is supportive, act in a way that's collaborative, work with others. Yeah? Okay? So in interviews, one of the favorite questions that I ask is that, if I ask a colleague to describe you, what do you think that person will say? So you can ask yourself that question now. Right? Because that will tell us, of course you have to answer in a very honest way, okay? That will tell us, ourselves, what kind of person we are at work. Some of you may have come across this in corporate. We always say, to know or understand whether, we have performed or worked in a way that has integrity is the front page test. Okay, so whatever task that you are doing, how would you feel if your actions were on the front page? This is the test that we always put ourselves in, right? Okay, even if no one is watching. Okay, but tomorrow, whatever you're doing goes on the front page. How would you feel about it? Right? That's a test. Okay. So, for example, you are going to sell a batch of things to your customers, and the expiry date is actually coming quite close. Do you close your eyes and say, "I just sell," or you would tell your customer, "Hey, look, the expiry date is quite soon." I know there's a lot of difficulty. Your boss will say, "Don't say," and right? Okay, that's another story. But we always ask ourselves, if this goes on the front page tomorrow in the papers, how would you feel? Right? In corporate, there's a test. Okay, so I think based on that, we can also do a Buddha test. Okay, so how would you feel, on your task? How would you feel if Buddha comes to know about the action? Okay, so if someone comes and talks to me, I get frustrated, I, tell that person off, ego-wise, you may feel very good. You see, I tell him off, and then you tell your colleague, see, he came to me, I tell him off. You feel, like, ego very good. But then you should ask, what if the Buddha knows about it? Would you be proud of it? How would you feel? So a little test that we can put on ourselves, always ask ourselves, right? What if the Buddha knows about this? How would I feel? Okay? The next aspect, which I think is important, is to give our best at work. Okay? So don't cut corners when we are working. Be a responsible team member. Do our best. Work with others. If we can, go a little bit extra mile. Okay? I get very worried when Buddhist friends tells me, I let go lah. I'm not very ambitious, so it's okay. I'm not looking for promotion. So agak can already lah, do my work. I don't think that is the correct attitude. I think as a Buddhist, we should do our work 100% responsible. And I think a good Buddhist should also be a good worker, good co-worker. a good boss. All right? Someone whom, is reliable, someone whom, the company view as a good employee. Okay? So don't cut corners, be responsible. Because we are all in the same boat. If you are with your team members, it's just like all of us rowing the boat together. One person cut corner, rest for 30 seconds. The rest have to work doubly hard, right? So, but if we do our part, everybody do our part, then we find that it is easier for everyone. Right? That's what teamwork means, correct? So, as a Buddhist, give our best at work. I was just talking to a colleague the other day, and because I'm quite new to the company, this is the first time I have a chit-chat with him. And then he was telling me, oh, I'm a Buddhist. I said, oh, nice. I said, I'm also a Buddhist. Then he said, oh, you're a Buddhist? No, you look like a Christian. It's... So I asked him why. He said, oh, because you are very... you approach people, you're very approachable, you take initiative to talk to people. And Buddhists usually not like that. That's very worrying, no? Yeah. So, as Buddhists, we should come across as someone who is active, proactive in our work. All right, we take responsibility. That's very important. Yeah. Okay. Be the person that you like to work with. If you have a new colleague, what kind of new colleague would you like to have? Be that person. Okay? Give our best, have the right attitudes at work. That's very important. Okay, now, this aspect of practicing at work is usually a bit more difficult. Maintain mindfulness at work. Okay, be done? First of all, mindfulness. What does mindfulness mean? In office, you can't sit cross-legged and then start meditating, right? It's a bit difficult. But mindfulness means that you are at the present moment, okay? You're not judgmental, all right? You pay attention, very focused, okay? Now, how do we maintain mindfulness? What's the opposite of mindfulness? Very overwhelmed, very reactive, very edgy, right? And you're very driven by circumstances. When things get chaotic, you get, frustrated, difficult, and all that. That's the opposite of being mindful, right? So how do we maintain mindfulness at work? Or how we practice mindfulness at work? Those of us who meditate very, very well, you find that it's relatively easy. Immediately you could sort of pull back into yourself, all right? But most of us, that is not easy to do. So I would suggest that you purposely inject pockets of time where you can practice mindfulness at work. Okay? And what do I mean by this? First of all, make it a clear decision at the beginning of your workday. Before you go to work, tell yourself, I want to go to work today and, be mindful. So going back to putting things in the right perspective, all right? Making it your priority, all right? So have that mindset at the beginning of the workday, okay? And make use of short mindfulness exercises. Okay? Some of us may say, okay, go and Google, right? Mindfulness exercises at work. Then they will tell you, count 1 to 10, and the many, many methods, okay? Now, my suggestion is to design your own mindfulness exercises at work. Okay? What do I mean by that? So, if I may share, for me, I used to set my mobile on the apps and the apps will give me a sound every hour. Okay? And that when that sound comes along, when I hear that, I will just tell myself, okay, recollect. All right? And be at the moment. Okay? But that doesn't work for me. Okay? Because sometimes it's during meeting, then I cannot recollect, right? I have to listen to others, and sometimes I didn't hear it because I'm so busy, absorbed, replying an email or something. So I have to think of other ways. So I try a few times, different methods. So currently my method is this. Every day when I reach the office, the first thing I need to do is to take the elevator up. Okay? So when after pressing the elevator, must remember to press the elevator. Don't stand there and don't press the elevator. Huh? First, you press the elevator. So I press the elevator and wait for the elevator. While I'm waiting for the elevator, that is the opportunity for me to go into present moment. Because between waiting, between the time you press the elevator and wait for the elevator to open the door, usually it has like 10, 20, 30 seconds. That is a good time. So I used to be thinking, okay, what I want to do today, what meeting, So I tell myself, no, that is the time for myself. Okay? So I will just get into present moment until the door opens. That's my first practice. Okay? The other practice I have at work is that, I used to have a big jar of water. Then I will pour water as I get thirsty, right, in the office. Now I don't. I only put 1 cup in my office. And when I need water, I need to stand up and go to the pantry, collect the water, come back and drink water. Okay? So that is my practice. So I tell myself the time I stand up, go to the pantry, and come back and drink my water, I shall not think of anything. That is my present moment time. It's me time. It's my time. It's my practice time. Okay, that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work, because along the corridor, someone may catch you and start talking to you. Doesn't matter. At least you make an attempt. But drinking water, it works every time. Correct? No one will kind of disturb you when you drink water, right? And so drink it slowly. How fast do you drink water in the office? Right? Right. Take that opportunity. Usually we drink half a cup or so, right? That few sips of water, drink it slowly and drink it with mindfulness. Okay? Now, to be even more specific, sometimes we say, come back to the present moment and mindfulness. What does it mean? Because our mind is so scattered, and then suddenly you want to draw back attention, unless we are very good at meditation practice. You're very familiar with that. Otherwise, it's very hard. Okay? So for us, for those of us who find it very hard to quickly draw back into ourselves in that short moment of time, we can make use of our body. So like what we've just done in the relaxation exercise, one of the things that I do is when I drink water, I will notice my body. Am I relaxed? I almost can say 100% you will find that your body is not relaxed. You can try tomorrow. If you're drinking water, you just pay attention. So don't have to think about drawing back. What does it mean? Just pay attention to your body. If that is difficult, pay attention to one part of your body, your shoulders, maybe your lower back, whichever you think is the easiest to connect with. And for that moment, don't do anything else but notice your shoulders. There is a way to come back to ourselves. There is a way to draw within. Very practical, workable. Is it workable? Yeah? Okay. So what I've just shared is my own 2 practices at work. Okay? I will really encourage all of us, design your own. Because that may work for me, it may not work for you. Maybe you don't have an elevator at work. Yeah? Okay? But find ways to insert, that pockets of mindfulness at work. We can't, unless your office allows you, after lunch you go and sit for 1 hour. But most of us don't, right? So we can't find long periods like this where we can meditate during work. So what we can do is find ways to insert mindfulness. And that's important. Because you have, it's just like you can't have a line, but at least you have many different dots. Yeah? And then that different dot, the dot usually slowly can get longer and longer and longer and longer. Then your mindfulness becomes more continuous. Okay? But be prepared to fail a few times. Okay? I can almost guarantee that we will fail in the first few attempts. Okay? But keep at it. Okay? Don't give up. All right? As long as you don't give up, we still have hope. Okay? And it's okay to fail. It's all right. Because we're just trying. So try different methods. Think of methods that you can use. Anyone can now think of a method that you use or you're already using at work? Breathing. Yeah. Okay? So when you pull yourself in, just notice your breath. Okay? That's a good way. Very nice. Very good. Yeah, very good. On the MRT, yes. Perfect. Yeah. So that we don't waste time, right? This time well used. On the MRT, a lot of people will be watching a Korean movie. And, yeah. That's a good time for us to, work on our mindfulness. Yeah. So keep at it. All right? Even if we fail, it's okay. Yeah? We just don't give up trying. That's the most important. And keep reflecting on what we do to improve. So if we take the MRT home or the bus home, on the bus, on the MRT, think of what happened that day sometimes. Just reflect. I was telling this person this, If I do it again, would I do it better? Is there another way to say it? All right? So reflect. Reflection is very important. It's an understated virtue, in my opinion. We must always reflect. Then we can think of better ways and also understanding our own shortcomings. Yeah? Okay? So I'm going to just quickly summarize what we've discussed. Okay? Put things in perspective. Okay? It's like having a right view and right outlook in our life. Okay? Bear in mind what our priorities are. It's like having a right intention. Okay? The right mental posture, if I may say. Your posture must be correct. Right? Communicate our speech, our communication in a beneficial way. It's like having right speech. Okay? Act in a responsible way. So it's like having the right action in an ethical way, a moral way, and also supportive and caring to others, extending kindness to others. We can do it at work. This is not impossible to do at work. Okay? And for ourselves, be very mindful about giving our best at work. And that relates to right livelihood. Right? So right livelihood is not just about, not doing job that hurt others. It's also in a job, in our work. Do we do our part so that we contribute to the team and to the company, right, to our work? Maintain mindfulness at work, that's right mindfulness. That's practicing right mindfulness, okay? And if we keep at it and keep reflecting on it, it's part of right effort. Now, right effort is difficult. For a start, we have to actually intentionally create that volition. It doesn't come naturally. Sometimes we feel like giving up. It's like so difficult, right? But we have to keep at it. Okay, and until the time you taste the benefit of it, then you find that actually very naturally we have that energy that is almost self-serving that will come to us to encourage us to do that. Okay, if you already feel that, congratulations. That's a very important source of energy for ourselves. Okay, and if we put in right stillness, of course, right stillness is more about stilling our mind. At work, it's maybe a little bit more difficult. But if you can practice before or after you go to work, meditate for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour if we can in the morning, Now, if we are able to do that, we are already practicing the 8 Noble Paths. Okay? So I want to be clear, this is not a definition of Eightfold Noble Path. Okay, it's not a definition. Rather, it is a sharing of how we can apply the Noble Eightfold Path at work. Okay? Because people often, attend sutta learning, Dharma talks, and after that, how to apply? Don't know how to apply. Yeah. So I hope in this sharing, I could come from a perspective of how actually we can actually apply this. And applying Dharma to work or to life, we have to be the designer. Don't wait for others to tell us how to do it. We can take reference, but we can design our own ways to practice it. And it can be quite fun. Okay? So, learning the Dharma will only come alive if we practice it. If we don't practice our Dharma, it's really just another intellectual entertainment. So, sorry, that may not be very respectful. It's just another intellectual way, right? Or developing our intellectual. So try not to just keep it at intellectual level. Try to really practice so that we experience the joy when we find ourselves improving as a person. Okay? So listening to Dharma is important because it builds the basic, it builds the foundation, it builds the know-how, but we have to try to do it in our life. And it's okay to fail, okay? It's all right to fail. Right? In fact, when you start, you'll find that actually it's more difficult because you become more mindful. Then you realize, cannot gossip during lunchtime. Very difficult, right? That's not very good, right? Gossiping is not good speech, right? So you find, cannot gossip, very difficult. So when you first start, actually it's even more difficult than you think, right? But you just need to keep at it, yeah? All right? And workplace is a very good place, is a very good opportunity to practice. Honestly, when we come to Buddhist Fellowship, you don't need to practice very much because everyone is so nice. Correct? You come here, all our Dharma brother and sister, we meet one time a week. We're all very nice to each other, right? Not a very conducive place to practice. Yeah. You don't need to do a lot. Naturally, we are very nice. But it's at workplace where there's a lot of challenges, right? When we are put in situation where we are stressed up, I think that is the real test. And that is, it provides a good opportunity for us to reflect and to test out our own practice. Okay? So I hope, we can insert some Dharma, insert this little lotus in our workplace, okay? And gradually we become better. Okay? So I leave some time for any comments or questions that you may have.
Let's say 3 sadhus for Sis Rachel's talk. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now questions from the floor.
No questions, it means either it's very clear or you're totally confused, don't know how to ask. So how about I ask question? Do you think it's doable? So what is the one thing you'll do tomorrow when you go to work? Do differently. Anyone wants to share? Huh? Not going to do anything differently? Okay.
It's just quite annoying. So
Okay.
sometimes you can feel like the emotion coming up. So
Yeah.
I think I will try to be more mindful so that I can practice right speech.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. So the sister says it's hard to maintain right speech. It's true. Because it's very fast, right? Especially colleagues. Sometimes we already have dealings with them in the past. So we are influenced by our own perception and our own memory of this person, right? And sometimes people can do pretty nasty things at work. So the moment that person comes to you, all these emotions and all these memories comes, right? So that's where, I think that little picture helps, right? With this little devil that is coming out, at least we keep a distance from that and don't let that defilements come out of our speech or our action. Thanks for sharing. Sister.
Yeah, I just like to share. It's quite true. I thought I have been very patient. I'm a patient person. But at times when I explain things to my colleagues, just like what you mentioned, I can answer in a very impatient way because I have forgotten that she does not have the same experience as me.
Yes.
Yeah. So after the incident, I realized that I have been quite nasty. That the monster in me has actually come out. So it is a very good way that I see my own defilement, and I will be kinder to the person the next time. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sister. I think it takes a lot of bravery for our sister here to say, I was impatient with somebody. So congratulations for that, because I think if we are able to face our own defilements, I think that is already a very, very important step that we can become better from here. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Sister Rachel, first let me congratulate you for giving such an excellent talk.
Oh, thank you.
Of applying the Noble Eightfold Path on work practice. Earlier on, you mentioned that one of your colleagues actually asked you whether you're Buddhist, and you don't appear as a Buddhist because the stereotype of being a Buddhist is that you are a nice person. Is it because, as you mentioned, that a lot of Buddhists are actually already practicing the Eightfold Path, and then therefore they appear as a person who is very nice and don't quarrel, give the correct speech and so on? So, whereas in the case of other religion, Christian, they are more aggressive, they are go-getter and so on. So they appear a lot more outgoing and so on. So what's your view on this?
Yeah.
That being a Buddhist, we appear to be a nice person. We are not the outgoing type.
Yes, yes.
Whereas the other religion, no. They are very aggressive,
Yes.
outgoing, they're evangelists, they try to convert you and so on. So what's your view on this?
Yes. Interesting comment, interesting question, rather. We can practice the Eightfold Path, okay, but still be progressive, be proactive at work, do well at work. Practicing the Eightfold Path doesn't mean that we need to be passive. It doesn't mean that we, when it needs, we cannot be assertive, right, to get things done. It doesn't mean that. But we do it in a way that we respect people, all right? We don't belittle others, right? In fact, I feel, I'm not sure whether that's the right thing to share, because this stereotype about Buddhists is that we're very passive. We just let things be, all right? Doesn't matter. This world has nothing to do with us. We are in our own world. Unfortunately, it seems like, in my own experience, it seems to be the stereotype, right? Which I think all of us has the responsibility as a Buddhist to show, to the rest of the world that no, we are progressive, we are proactive, and we are contributing members of this society. All right? When it needs be, we can still be assertive and voice our opinion. It doesn't mean that we have to. Eightfold Path doesn't mean that we don't care about the society. No, we don't. It's not what it means. Yeah. So I mean, in short, I think practicing the Eightfold Path, being a good Buddhist, doesn't stop us from being a good member of the company that we work with, and being a good member of the society. In fact, we would be very good. We would be a very good member of the company and the society if we do it correctly.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And also, earlier on, you mentioned that one of your colleagues told you, well, I'm not so ambitious, I let go a bit. I think this is also a point that I think a lot of Buddhists actually misunderstood.
Yes.
We practice letting go, doesn't mean giving up.
Yes.
You mentioned that when we do a job, we give it 100%. We do all the best we can, as what Ajahn Brahm said. Give it all you have got, But a lot of Buddhists actually misunderstood. I let go, actually I don't do so much. Yes. So because of this letting go thing, maybe also contribute to this stereotype of this guy not so forthcoming, he already let go and so on.
Yes, agree. If we do our best at work, we give it all we can. But unfortunately, for some reasons, the next promotion, we will not put on the list. That is the real test. Right? It doesn't matter. We have already put in our best. That is within our control. But whether we get promoted, that is outside of our control. Right? And we need not get angry over it. Yeah. That causes that there are just many, many conditions at play, right? If we understand that. Yeah. Good. Thank you, brother. Yes.
Thank you, sister, for the talk. So how do we see the best in our colleagues and not be so fault-finding of them?
Okay. So there's this thing called positive thinking, right? That we come across a lot. So when something happens, we always keep looking at the more positive side of it. Okay, and we have a lot. There's a lot of courses. I'm sure some companies also share, sort of send us for courses about positive thinking and all that. And I think the prerequisite to positive thinking is being mindful. Right? If we are able to be mindful meaning that we are not swamped by circumstances. Whatever happens, we know our set of values, we are very grounded, okay? Now, when we are able to do that, we will always, look at another person and say, okay, what's the best way to work with this person? What is the most constructive way to work with this person? But it's true that some people are really not easy to work with, okay? But it's up to us, because whether they're easy to work with, how they want to display how they want to behave, how they want to work with us is their choice. We don't have a control over that. But we have a control over how we respond to them, and how, whether, within us, we allow the anger to overwhelm us. That we have a control. So we work with things that we can control. All right? And Ajahn Brahmali always says, we must always act with kindness. I remember going to a retreat by Ajahn Brahmali, I think just before the COVID. And, he taught a lot of sutras, right, during the retreat. And then on the last day, he told us, he said, if you can't remember anything from the sutra that I taught you, it's okay. You just remember to be kind. Okay? And that teaching struck me so hard. It was like something that I will always, always remember. Okay? And kindness is very, very precious. If you recall the time that you're kind, when we are kind, we feel this softness in our hearts, correct? Right? And that's so precious. Okay, no matter what other people do to us, don't allow them to take away this kindness, because it's so precious. I always tell my students, protect your kindness at all costs. Protect this kindness. Because once you lose the ability to be kind, it's really a very sad thing to happen to any human being. Yeah. So others can be not kind to us. That's their choice, right? If we can influence them, we try. But at least we must react in a fair and kind manner. And then also be fair and kind to ourselves. Don't let others' bad behavior arouse the defilement in us. At least we try, okay? So, improvement to be a better person at work or in life is always little by little. Don't expect, yourself to go back to work tomorrow and, behave very, very differently. No, it's always little by little. But we must work at it. Yeah. Thank you.
No more questions. Okay. Oh, yes. One more. Okay.
So I work in the marketing, design kind of a field. So sometimes we get jobs from clients, And sometimes I feel that maybe my personal values are opposed to the client I'm supposed to design and market for. For example, there was one case where we had a project where I feel that the company is making some rather dubious health claims, which might be illegal. So I brought it up to my boss gently. Then he felt that there was nothing wrong with this. We just earned the money. Then I felt very conflicted because if I'm actually helping this business to promote, then it could be possibly harming other people. So I actually reported it secretly to the government, HSA. Then they took action, so the project was cancelled. Of course, my boss isn't aware. So I also feel like, did I do the right thing? Because the project was cancelled, right? Then the company, we actually don't get paid for the rest of it. Yeah. And yeah, sometimes I wonder, like, or maybe if I report, nothing happens. Do I still continue to work on this? Yeah.
Okay, interesting, very interesting case. What would you do? I'd like to hear the rest, brothers and sisters. If you were this sister, would you do the same? Or would you do differently? So, sister, I put myself in your shoes. If I don't report this, I don't know whether I can sleep at night. Yeah. Because this could potentially harm someone's health. Yeah. So, personally, I think you have done the right thing. Yeah. Anyone disagree? I think certain things we can sometimes let go, right? Maybe it's your opinions against my opinion, right? Different opinions. But as long as no one gets hurt, it's not so bad, right? But if this is something that can potentially hurt someone's health, then I think, we need to make sure that facts are being laid out correctly. Opinions, personal opinion, yeah. I hope that helps.
Okay, if there's no more questions, 3 sadhus, and we can close the session. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Can I say a few
Sure.
statements? I think I really want to thank everybody here because I think in the process of preparing for the sharing, personally, I also learned a lot. And I would like to encourage everybody, not just in work, but in life, try to be your own designer. Okay, design things that works for you so that your practice can, get improved. And these designs, you can revisit every few months, every year, all right, so that our practice improve and get better. Okay, we spend so much time learning the Dharma. Put it in our lives so that it brings joy to us. That's an important thing. So I really encourage you, at least for a start, think of what you want to do differently at work, starting tomorrow. Okay, latest 1st June. Okay, do something differently. Just one small change will do. Don't think of like you want to boil the ocean. Don't need to. Just 1 or 2 things that you do differently, and then build from there. Okay, so that's my biggest wish, that we can all improve and derive joy in the practice. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sis Rachel, for the great talk and the encouragement. Let's do our closing. Let us invite all sentient beings to participate in our acquired merits. Ettavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya, ettavata cha amhehi, sambatang punya sampadang, sabbe bhuta anumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhya, ettavata cha amhehi, sambatang punya sampadang, sabbe satta anumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhya. Let us dedicate the merits of participating in this wholesome Dharma activity to our departed relatives and friends. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. End of service dedication. I dedicate the merits which I have accumulated to the cultivation of my mind in order to bring happiness and benefits to all sentient beings. I dedicate the merits to my parents, children, spouse, relatives, friends, colleagues, and my adversaries, wishing them long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity. May we never part from the triple gem, and may we always walk the path towards enlightenment. Let us pay respects to the triple gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thanks again, Sister Rachel, for coming to give us this wonderful talk. And thank you, brothers and sisters. Do join us for the AGM. If you're a member, go for your lunch first. And we hope to see you at 2 o'clock. Thank you. Bye.